Hi, my love. Welcome to your weekly forecast for the week of May 25th to June 1st, 2025. This week, we enter June and a new lunar cycle. It's also the first full week of Saturn in Aries. So this week is really all about feeling into new beginnings, which are really just starting as we make our way slowly into the summer, which is bringing us a lot of change. But maybe the most significant fresh start moment of this week arrives on Friday with our Mercury cazimi. This Mercury cazimi is giving us a chance to clear the slate of our thinking and perspective and open up to an inspired new plan and vision for the rest of the year. So let's get into the highlights of this week. On Monday at 11:02 a.m. ET, we have a new moon in Gemini. Now, this is our last new moon of the light half of the year, and it can be a reset for our headspace and mindset. It's a beautiful opportunity to check back in with our overall alignment with our true, authentic desires and what we want to see in our life. Gemini is a mutable air sign, and it rules ideas and communication, collaboration and creative projects, as well as our local community and environment and neighborhood, and also coworkers and siblings, cousins, and neighbors. So this new moon just asks us to check in with the movement and activity in our daily life, the thoughts we're thinking all day, and the topics we're talking about all day, and how we're feeling about our workflows and the pace of our daily life and the balance of input versus output or giving and receiving. How aligned is our current daily reality from our ideal day? That's a question to consider under this Gemini new moon. This new moon isn't forming any harsh aspects to other planets, making it a relatively unobstructed new beginning, an opportunity to call in some new reality for the next 6 months, which is pretty much the rest of the year at this point. So this new moon is coming at a beautiful time to just check in with what we want for the rest of the year. So envision where you want to be in life by the full moon in Gemini on December 4th, 2025. Write it down, speak it aloud, put it into words. This new moon in Gemini is all about the power of the mind. So see it, write it, create it. Now on Tuesday at 1:56 p.m., Mercury forms a trine to Pluto. So right after the Gemini new moon, on day one of a new lunar cycle, we get this beautiful supportive boost of momentum. Powerful, alchemical Pluto pulling up deep truths and forming this harmonious aspect to swift, active, creative Mercury can mobilize our new intentions and set us off on a new manifesting journey. If the Gemini new moon prompted some new vision for the next 6 months, this Mercury-Pluto alignment can help us to take some brave, aligned action to really affirm our intention and demonstrate our commitment. We could feel maybe a boost of courage or audacity to share our intentions aloud and be witnessed, or take some first step in experimenting with a new identity or version of ourselves. And if we do, we'll likely discover a lot of treasure. Now on Friday, at the end of the week, just after midnight, we have a Mercury cazimi in Gemini. Now, a cazimi occurs when a planet meets up with the heart of the sun, symbolizing this moment of potent clarity. Distractions or confusion is burnt away, leaving pure truth in its place. This is a fusion of Mercury's themes, our mind and intellectual and creative powers, and the sun, pure conscious awareness and vitality. So Friday can deliver breakthroughs and solutions, clear answers and news. And in its home sign of Gemini, very likely those breakthroughs will arrive in the form of words like specific instructions, requests, or offers. So all this week, with a new moon in Gemini, a Mercury-Pluto trine, and a Mercury cazimi. This week is all about clarity and extracting the gifts in the period of the dark night, or the gifts that were hidden in the shadows, and gifts in our fears. They can become fuel moving forward. Now, next week, Venus enters Taurus, Mercury will conjoin Jupiter, and then move into Cancer. And let's pull some cards from the tarot for guidance for the week of May 25th to June 1st, 2025. What do we need to know from the tarot? Ace of Swords, Three of Pentacles, and the Sun. So big clarity, fresh starts, clear slate, new vision. The next 6 months can look and feel very different than the last 6 months. At this week, there's so much like fresh start energy, and I love that all of these energies are incoming so close to like the midpoint of the year. The first half of 2025 was rocky for a lot of us, and it really feels like coming into the big outer planet shifts that really define 2025. It's a whole new ball game moving forward. And the Ace of Swords asks us to really lean into the themes and invitations of the Gemini new moon and the Gemini cazimi to just open up to pure possibility and kind of, clear space in our mind to surrender to what insights need to come through this week, what new visions, what new downloads. Like, this is very much a surrender kind of energy, opening up to universe. How would you have me lead? We don't need to have all of the answers. We just need to have a willingness to receive and ask big questions, I feel, this week. And with the Three of Pentacles, connection, collaboration, co-creation, the people that we're interacting with all the time, we want to, be aware of what happens within our connections, because I feel like the people that we're engaging with all the time, that's the channel through which like the divine speaks this week. So be aware of the magic in the mundane and the gifts and blessings that are, wrapped up in just unexpected packages, unassuming packages, if you like. The sun, clarity, the pure light of clarity. So if you've been moving through a dark night moment, a challenging moment where uncertainty was just the norm and one foot in front of the other and you couldn't see much further than that, this week marks a turning point. And now it's time to arrive on the other side of it and just rest for a moment and be grateful that we're on the other side of something and kind of like gather our energy. On the root of the deck, we have Justice. So with Justice, we have a very swords type energy. It's very much about kind of, right or wrong, and truth and what's right and what's wrong, what's just and what's not, balance and fairness. It's almost a bit of a judgment like energy that we see with Justice. It's sort of like it's time to weigh things up and take stock. And with the Ace of Swords and Justice, I think what might be helpful for us to lean into this week is just a detached mindset, an objective mindset, and just think about the data of the situation. We don't need to get too emotional about things or read too much into things or rush to conclusions, but I think it's really important this week that we stay present for all of the gifts and all of the input that is coming our way. But it seems kind of like a week where, wrongs are being righted. And maybe in situations where things were feeling murky or not quite aligned on the level or like fair or just, we can start to really see some change and coming back into balance this week. Justice, I think, when it comes up in a tarot reading, we're reminded to do right by ourselves. That ultimately, that's what we came here to do. That's what the universe will only ever want from us, to just do right by ourselves in any given moment, to speak our truth, to try our best, to do our best with what we can, what we have in that moment. We can't possibly do anything more. So, what does it mean for you to do your best this week? To do your best by your family, your friends, your chosen family, your community, your clients. What does it mean for you to do the best you possibly can and to just let go of anything that just doesn't matter for that? The Ace of Swords is coming in with this swift energy of like clearing out the clutter, getting super focused, not squandering energy, because this is a powerful moment to create new visions. And that takes a whole lot of energy, right? Really interesting. So I think there's certainly kind of an internal process, I think, that's very much alive this week. But with the Three of Pentacles, you're not alone. There could be some really beautiful alliances that are formed, some really interesting conversations that happen, other people that present options and possibilities that you would have never even noticed could be possible. So we don't need to take it all on ourselves. Let's pull one more card and see what comes up for us. Yeah, the Three of Wands. Moving beyond a planning moment into opening up to receive. The Three of Wands shows us on the precipice of something, but kind of in a moment where we're a little bit more clear than we were when we were just kind of setting out to venture like into the unknown and set new intentions. The Three of Wands is sort of like we've taken some action, we've set down some requests, we've called in some new ships, and now we're kind of in that moment of opening up to receive them. It's kind of an important week, I think, to step back a bit, but also know or just feel into what's kind of calling us forward, but just kind of be in that kind of empowered receivership moment. And it takes a lot of energy to be there. You know, when I think about this card in conjunction with Justice, I think about how important it is to hold ourselves in our power and to see through eyes that are self-loving and know that we're worthy, you know that you're worthy of what it is you want, and you're worthy of doing right by yourself. You're worthy of fighting for. You're worthy of standing up for and being stood up for. And I hope that you find the strength and the power to do that. And I hope that the universe and the people around you rush to support you this week. My love, thank you for listening to your weekly forecast on Magic Woman Radio, and many blessings for this week ahead. And I will talk to you next week.